it's me, Aunt T, and happy summer to everyone. I'd like to say thank you to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I didn't think anybody would ever. Well, anyway, I'm just happy. Thank you. And I think I got the message out. I think I got the message out in my last uh, video there about keeping it center and remaining center right, center left, and feeling that distinction between those that are being extreme and knowing that difference and getting us back to some kind of common ground. So anyway, thank you. Thank you for that. The message is out, and you might have noticed that I seem to not really be like other people on YouTube. I'm kind of an oddity, I guess you might say. I don't do things the way everyone else does. I'm not on here all the time, and I guess I should be. I should be on here all the time. I should be every week where you can, just like clockwork, know I'm going to be here. And I apologize for that. I'm working on changing that about myself. And so it is that I am just very casually today talking to you about something, and it's truth and consequences. Truth and consequences today is what I want to talk about. And it is June, and work is slow because everyone's on holidays. And, it's getting warm and people are having fun, and that's all good. It's all really good. And it looks like right now there's a bit of a pause. And I say a bit of a pause. You wouldn't know it if you were looking at what's going on in Ireland today, and you wouldn't know it if you were looking at what's going on in other places that are going through some turmoil still, but things are sort of kind of getting that we can almost go, gee, I can go to the beach and not worry about what's going to happen and just enjoy myself in the present moment. And so I think what I'd like to talk about is my own story a little bit and why I do what I do. You might find that kind of odd that I come up with the things that I do, and then what I talk about is usually what I'm feeling that I am compelled to talk about. Like I feel internally I'm supposed to be sort of getting everybody to open their eyes up to certain points and things that I feel like a trigger inside of me, like you got to get it out there, Tracy. Talk to everyone. So anyway, I don't know what that's about, and I know I'm very humble in my own outlook of myself, and I don't really look at myself as anyone other than just a regular person. But there is this this part of me that kind of keeps looking at everything worldwide, and I look at the world and I watch what's going on to people around the world, and it concerns me. It concerns me. I'm deep. I'm deep that way. And so why I picked truth and consequences. I've been going through some stuff. I've been picked on a lot where I live here, and it's because I am different. It's because I am stepping into my own spiritual gifts, and learning about them and feeling them and talking about them. And this gets other people in the spiritual community kind of upset where I live here. And I know that they've made attacks on me, and I know that they have done different things to try and get me. I know that they have, and I've felt it a few times. I have to admit they did attack me a few times, and but it didn't get me right down. And I think maybe people are a little wondering about that. And I'm gonna be right honest here. I don't believe in cursing people, and I will never ever do that for anyone. I will never ever take money from people to put curses on other people. I just simply do not feel that is ethically right. I would never do that. Um, and also, I have a respect for the spirit world, and I have a respect for karma, and know that it will come back to you if you do those type of things. So, for anyone that has been doing that to me, um, I have said in different emails, because in my part of my meditation to the divine, when I get to my crown chakra, I see my armies of angels, and they're dark and light. And the dark are the ones that I tell to continue to execute judgment where they see fit. And I just let them do it. And the white angels are there, and they are protecting me, shielding me. And I know that's maybe very, very out there for a lot of people listening to that. Just me speaking it out loud, I'm sure that's right away got a lot of people going, "Woo," you know? And I don't really care. It's all right. Think whatever you want to think. I just know that that's what's helping me. That's what's protecting me. And when you think about it, I'm all by myself, but yet I'm not afraid. So there you go. When you got an army, there what's to fear, right? So there's a reason why I'm like this. There's a reason why I have such a tough skin. For the first 30 years of my life, I grew up in a very, very, very strict, regimented religious cult, Christian, fundamentalist Christian religious cult that actually, you might say I was under mind control for the first 30 years of my life. And it started to wear off towards the time I was ready to leave, the last 5 years of being in it. That, well, being in an abusive marriage, I kind of got my head knocked around quite a bit. So I think that kind of woke me up. But yeah, I mean, you get the sense knocked into you, you might say. So that kind of trained me, you might say, being in such a restrictive, very narrow, where everything was wrong. You went to school, you were constantly picked on, stigmatized. You had to always say, oh, it's against my belief, I don't do this and I don't do that. And of course, you're growing up as a kid with that. You get picked on a lot. And yeah, so you develop a very tough skin, which I did. And then going through what I went through with that marriage the very abusive marriage, and then coming out of that, like before the marriage, a car accident, and then the marriage, and then leaving that, and then having a very, very violent, uh, most extremely scary experience with the supernatural coming right out of that. And if you haven't heard about that, I write about that in one of my blogs. I'll put it in the link below that you can read about my experience with after I left the religion. I had a very, very scary, extremely scary experience with spirits. I was sleeping on a hide-a-bed mattress, and I was sleeping on my stomach, and the entire bed started rolling right up with me in it, and I was the whole bed was lifting right up off the floor with me in it rolling up, and I was starting to slide into the couch. If you know what a hide-a-bed couch mattress kind of slides, bends and slides in. Well, I was starting to do that, and I was pressed right down by these spirits. I think there were 4 or 5 of them attacking me all at once, and I yelled out God's name. At the time, I had a strong belief in saying God's name, Jehovah, and the whole entire mattress and bed just went bang, slammed right down on the floor. And of course, going through something like that with spirits, plus having an entire my background before that as well, a lot of nightmares, a lot of dreams of dark forces in my dreams. So, yeah, I've been around the dark a lot, okay? It didn't make me into someone that wanted to worship them or be like them. It just somehow awoken in me that I do have something that they want, obviously, or something that they're worried about, because I was no longer in that religion anymore, and that I was going to be out on my own. And I was kind of targeted, you might say, in that moment. And I now look back on that and go, okay, so now knowing coming this far in my life, I kind of look back at that and go, okay, so that's why. All right. Okay. And now I feel that when I am going through my meditations, I see my army. I see the dark ones respect me. So take what you will about that. Doesn't mean I'm whatever you want to call me. It doesn't mean I'm some kind of whatever, evil or dark witch or whatever they want to label me as being. That I don't deal with that. I don't practice or follow that. I won't even have a Ouija board in my house. I'm not one for playing around with the dark spirits. But they have a respect for me because of that event. And I've noticed after that certain things as well in my life, that there is sort of a power within me. And it comes out at the weirdest times. And to look at me, you would never think that, would you? It's just a mild little, but there is a force inside of me that is very strong. And it comes out at these weird times. And usually when I'm trying to either protect myself or protect others, or it just comes right out. And anyway, so I had a lifetime of that. So people sending me curses and doing weird stuff like that. This is why it's not working. So could you just stop doing it, all right? Okay? Because I have no interest whatsoever in competing with anybody. This is not what I'm about. I'm not here competing. I'm helping people as much as I can with what I do with my hypnotherapy, and I'm wanting to do more with reading cards. I enjoy doing a spiritual reading with people because I'm getting to learn more and more about that side of me. And so don't be. I know it's the spiritual community getting the most upset about this. And all I can say is it's worry about I'm taking their business away or I'm somehow taking away from what they can get. And it's not about that. It's not about competition. It's not about that. Because we're all here when you're thinking about it as to it's about healing. It's about healing people spiritually. It's about healing people mentally. It's about helping people to see and awaken. And if that's what you're about, you'll know what I'm saying is true. Um, and it's about helping people get through this next cycle we're in as humanity. I truly believe we are on the precipice of a complete change, complete change in the way that we operate as human beings on the world. And it won't be so driven by money. I think we will still have money. We will still have a money exchange. It just will not be the emphasis that it's always been. The emphasis will be on harmony, will be on working together with nature and the earth and spirituality and our own intelligence increasing, everything increasing within us, our own learning about our vibrations, our energies, our dimensions that are in the consciousness, and learning that part of us as human beings as we evolve. And we're in this we're coming upon what you might call the, you know, this test that we're going through. It's a testing period we're in right now to see if we will make it, to see if we will get through to the next stage. And there are a lot of stages and a lot of forces that are against us right now. And these forces that are against us do not want this to happen. They don't want us to happen at all because they like the way it is. They like having that power structure where you're dependent on another hierarchy, or you're dependent on a government, or you're dependent on a corporation, you're dependent on a religion, you're dependent on something. They want us dependent. But we human beings are evolving to become independent. We're going that next level. And I'm not saying that we're all going to be loners, which that's okay to be alone. I'm just saying that we're not having to be always, how do I word this? We don't always need an intermediary. That we all are a part of the divine. We are all part of God. All of us are that little. You could think of each and every human being as being, if you could think of God as so immense that God encompasses all the planets, all the universe, all the stars, and all the earth, all the animals, all of the human beings, and every single part of what I just mentioned is just to God like myself. I'm like a cell of God, like one molecule or one teeny weeny cell of God. and I'm experiencing for God in my life. And and what I'm experiencing is in some are experiencing not such good things, some are experiencing a lot of difficult things, and all of this is going back in like this ultimate connection to the source. And we've done this many times, humankind. I believe that we have gotten this far several times. It's not the first time. And it's happened over and over again when they dig up all of the, when archaeologists find all the different archaeological um, hidden cities and remarkably built and made monuments and statues and buildings and architecture, and they wonder how they did it with the way we always think of humankind, starting from Neanderthals to and then gradually over thousands and thousands of years, we seem to think that how in the world did they know all that? Well, it's because it was an entire civilization like us that got to a point and then they destroyed themselves. So I feel we are at this point again, and it's the ultimate test right now. And if you can look at, and I know some people don't like to look at the Bible, and I know in Canadian, they don't even let you quote scriptures in our Canadian politics now. So let's just say there is some writings from different ancient books that all kind of come together speaking about the similar thing happening in the end times. And in the end times, it's happening. We are in the end times, that we are reaching this point, and it says that the love of the many should cool at a certain time. And I believe that there's different interpretations of that, but I see what's happening with all the conflict around the world, all the fighting going on, and where just the love of humankind is in question, where people are just they're they're not acting in common sense anymore, or what I would think is common sense. A lot of things are really very bizarre right now, wouldn't you think? Like, it makes you question a lot of things. And why is that? And why are we being put in these positions now? And so anyway, it's a combination of things, and there is this push, this realization that they're going to lose their power. The people that have always been, you know, in the hierarchies above us, whether it's religious hierarchies, whether it's political hierarchies, whether it's um, dynasties or royalties, whatever it is, they are all getting quite nervous that they're losing control, that they're losing the power. And it is because we humans are changing and we are learning. And there are those that are awakening. And when I say awakening, I mean awakening and seeing that there is a matrix that we're living in, that this isn't real, that most everything is, it is like a game that we're in. It's all a game, and it's all a program. And so, of course, I love The Matrix. Love all those movies. I love Lord of the Rings. I really am into that type of whole thing, but I really think a lot about that. I think, when I do, as I've been seeing in the last year especially, I've been seeing a lot of spirits coming to me. I see entities floating around now. Um, I see faces in my dreams. I see faces coming to me. And I feel that there is this sort of almost like it's like a staticky, it's how I can explain it. It's almost like static, TV static, like a screen almost, that I see them coming through. And yeah, and they don't scare me anymore. They used to scare me, and I'm not afraid anymore. And so I have an understanding of that, and it has made me aware of a few things. I'm still trying to figure it out a lot of times. And so this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm trying to help those people that are waking up like me. Those people that are not sitting here listening to what I'm saying and laughing their heads off, going, "What a weirdo! She's crazy. She's la la whatever." Um, it's fine. Go ahead, make my day. In the words of Dirty Harry, yeah, go ahead, make my day. So I really couldn't care less. But for those of you that are waking up, there is a way we can get through this. There is a way that we can have a parallel community going away from all the drama that is going to be happening. We may have to go dark, and we may have to go and hide this in communities against what is coming down for a few years as we all join together and find each other, simply because there will be this conflict of what's going on right now. And when I say that, there are the groups, the globalists, as is happening in Europe, the the World Economic Forum for one thing, and the WHO, and all those big acronym where they want to take over and give us all identities, give us all numbered IDs, and control what we buy and how they feed, and they want to feed us horrible things. So I'm saying we can break away, and there is a way. And I have a lot of ideas. And if you know of others that are out there that are feeling like me, that are opening their eyes and seeing this isn't right, but you're scared to say anything because you're going to break away from what the, you know, what the people that are not awake, that are just following along, and they're going to continue to follow along, and we're just going to quietly sort of sneak away from them until they actually wake up, because it may take a lot for them to wake up, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge that. But for those of us that are awake right now, finding a way that we could meet together, and it would have, I think we're going to have to be very secret about this, simply because there will be a lot that will not want us to be doing what we're doing. For those of us that are awakened, that we somehow come together, congregate together, or connect, all of us. And I put it out there all the time in my vibrations, in my frequency, to connect with others on the same, that are awakening, that we can somehow find ways to break away from the existing system. And it's going to have to be done very gradually and carefully, because again, there's going to be a lot of rejection, a lot of going against us, because it's going to be totally different from what we see today, the accepted norm, which is following rules, and the laws and regulations and rules keep changing. The taxation systems are unfair. The whole systems that we are operating in are totally unfair, and they're all based on keeping us in line, keeping us so that we will only ever reach a point of always being in this type of slave slave uh, slavery that we as humans have become to a hierarchy of whatever it is. So us breaking away and becoming independent souls, and uh, noticing this is wrong, and noticing that something could be better. So we kind of have to be secret about this. Sort of like when you think about it, all the mystery schools, all the secret societies, all of those, all had to go secret with their realization. And even things that we're discovering today with the hidden books, the Nag Hammadi, that the scriptures that were taken out of the canonized Bible scripture that everyone knows of today. There were 22 books that were taken out, and those 22 books tell a different story of the Bible. And other things are being revealed as well. The Ethiopian Bible is again. So there's all these things are coming and opening up to humanity now, where you realize that people were always trying to keep us under control. People were always trying to have the power over us and to keep society down. And we accepted it and thought this was the only way, and we accepted and believed it for so long, and now this is changing, and we're starting to open our eyes, and we're awakening to something else happening. So, and a lot of us are struggling right now, going, we're at this point around the world, and it's not just the Western world, the Eastern world, everywhere around the world. They're all struggling with things are not working out the way they've always been, and we're starting to see how it's all going to be. And so to avoid all that and to look at different ways, like for instance, this whole free trade, when they got into uh, free trade with food, that's where things started to really go wrong. Like trading, when you can get cheaper tomatoes from another country, or another country far away, and the tomatoes that are grown right next door to you are more expensive. You got to kind of give your head a shake. And then with that, also, they're covered in pesticides and preservatives and everything that is horrible for us, causing all of us to have microbiomes being damaged, our digestive systems being damaged, and our health being damaged. So, but we're forced to buy this because it's cheaper, Meanwhile, the farmer that's growing it right next door can't sell his tomatoes. So it's things like that that don't make sense, and it's because of this whole uh, love of this control and love of money has gotten out of control. Corporations have gotten out of control. You know, going so large with selling and growing. Uh, you know, for the world when you should be looking after what is just in your community, or maybe 12,000 people, or 24,000 people, or how far, to keep it within your own area, your own community, your own, so that your own biology, your microbiome is connected to the organisms that are in the produce, that are there and local, and they would be so enriching and good for you. So things like that, we need to go backwards, rather than this always growing and striving for selling out worldwide and selling big. And we need to come down and bring it down small. And only, like, I'm proposing that from now on, any grocery store should also have nearby a entire greenhouse, where that's where all of the vegetables are supplied, right then, there, right there. And that grocery store is supplying for that area within 12,000 people, or whatever, how many thousands, maybe even smaller than that, but keeping it close by, and bringing it down. Same with dairy and poultry, and other things that we depend on to eat, allowing them to be these animals to be more free range, being able to have that healthy life for them, that is not full of stress and preservatives and all kinds of antibiotics and whatever else they're shoving into these animals for large distribution. And this is where everything went wrong whenever corporations got involved in like everything: flour, dairy, poultry, everything. All of these, when they got involved and everything went big, that's when they had to fill everything up with preservatives. They had to do all this, uh, you know, uh, antibiotics, preservatives, all these different things, and it's all in our everything we're eating, and we're all getting very unhealthy from this eating this way. When years ago, if you look back even just as far back as the 50s and the 60s, um, people were getting their eggs and their milk actually delivered to them. If you can imagine that, it was very local. Everything was local. Everything, and mothers were there with their children, which is another thing I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with, but they were there, and everything was local. It was able to be managed so much easier, and people could live a lot easier. And so just looking at going backwards and finding ways to form communities. So, for instance, like a farm that now is selling, and they maybe are feeling they're forced to sell to a corporation. What if that farmer could sell to maybe 12 different farmers, and they divided it all up into 12 sections, and one did poultry, one did had cattle, one had or cows, one had vegetation and vegetables. What if they all did a little bit of something, and they all sold to each other and to the nearest community? And if we could do this, go back to making it more condensed, more per community per unit, and everything dividing up in segments of 12. So like 1,200, then 12,000, then 24,000, all in 12s, uh, each divided up. And the same thing with things like taxation, just eliminating governments and taxation altogether, and just hiring the communities, getting in groups, and hiring someone that is a property manager or a manager of the infrastructure, and everyone pays into that so much per, and that would have to be figured out. So all of this could be restructured and changed, and stopping this whole hierarchy, this whole paying to some, who is going to supposedly, give a little tiny bit to some social programs here and social programs there, which you never really see that that's really happening, and that a lot of fraud, a lot of theft, a lot of dishonesty has been happening. And this is what we're experiencing today, is that this is being found out in even our own government here in Canada. It's ridden with fraud, with theft of Canadians' taxpayers' money. And I know I'm going to get a lot of people not agree with that, but uh, to social programs that really don't even make any sense, and don't exist, and they're not really voted by all of the majority of Canadians. So things like that could be very vitally changed. And then you're working on roads within your community. You're working on buildings within your community. You're working on, if there's orphans and widows and elderly in your community, you're working on in that small area, helping them out. Everyone pitching in is so much money of what they're earning into that purpose. And so going back that way, so that money then is used differently, and that there is more trade done locally, and corporations would just be for those type of things that are very big and difficult for a small community to do. So things like car making, or other ironworks for building making. So those type of things that would need something bigger, a bigger uh, type of corporation or manufacturer, or um, the industry to do, same as mining, or refinery for oil, whatever it is. All these different things could be done again, maybe by 12 or more. So like 144,000, a group of people in that, all pooling in together towards those bigger items. And so restructuring all of humanity in this way, I see as the future. And I see that we could utilize some of the things that are coming down with artificial intelligence, and using AI to help with that, maybe using robotics to help with that in some ways. But again, that is just being jumped right into. And again, you have competing forces of this now, where everyone's getting on the bandwagon with this. And again, it's like, how can we make a lot of money doing this, and how can we get everybody where they have to have it? And then whenever we do anything this big, it falls apart, and it goes quite terribly. So we have to look at this differently again, and get control of AI right now. And that has to happen. So anyway, that's my ideas. And how we get there, like I said, there's going to be this change, and that we're going to have to maybe gradually do this, because everything I've just said right now, I know that whoever's watching, who's ever keeping an eye on me, saying she's a rebel rouser, she's a, so they're not going to like my ideas because it's going against their big money making schemes and their big power hungry schemes that have been going on and on and on. And it's always the same ones, the same type of people all the time that take control of us and try to tell us that it's for our own good. It's for our own good. It's all, do this because it's for the good of all. And it really isn't. And so we have to make this change if we want to, if we want to survive, if we want to survive, and if we don't want to have to do this whole thing over again, because I don't see that there's any other way, that I really see that this will be our end again if we allow everything to go the way it's going and has been going for thousands of years. So this is our chance, and for all those that are awakening as I have been awakening, and you can see the grid, you can see that there's something more out there, that you can feel there's a consciousness, that you feel you're connecting with others on a consciousness level, that you're picking up the vibrations, you're picking up, similarities or similar thoughts from other people, and they're not even in your, they're far away from you, and yet you're able to pick up on that. So it shows that we're evolving. Humanity is evolving, and it's very exciting that we're evolving to this other level. It's just we're still going to be a little careful, and kind of like the way Da Vinci was, and putting symbols and everything in his paintings and others, because it was against the church. It was against the church. It was against all these different inventors and philosophical philosophers, scientists at those times. It was like risking their lives to tell about these new ideas, and because it's going against the norm, it's going against what everyone's saying is supposed to be the way everything's supposed to be. And but if you're like me and you're seeing more and more that things are just not right, things are not right, and a lot of the things that they keep telling us are good for us, you can see that they're not, and you're not trusting anymore. And you want to break away, but you don't know how or what to do. Put some comments in my down below, and let me know how you're feeling and how we can find ways to connect, because I think this is going to be vital for everyone's survival, and there might not be a lot of us that survive out of this, or there might be a lot of us. I'm hoping there's a lot of us that can come together and break away from this whole system. As you can see, there is a lot of conflict already, and in different parts of the world, but again, it's all hidden because our media, our news media, everything tells you lies, and it's being able to notice and distinguish between the lies that are being told through the media and everything being hidden. They don't want you to know what's really the truth. So if you're like me and you're starting to see more and more what's real and what's not, let me know in the comments, and we'll sneak away. We'll become like a secret society for a little while until it till everyone comes on board, till we get a lot more help, where people can be brave with this brave new world that we're going to be going into. And no, it won't be a new world order like Carney and the globalists want. No, it won't be that. It's going to be something else that is going to be run by people that are more individual, but yet we're connected on a consciousness level. It will be something more harmonious. And you might be hearing that word harmony a lot, as I have noticed with others that I connect with. On that harmony is mentioned a lot. That we're all wanting harmony. And this is the next level that we hope to connect and get to that level. So until we get there, there's going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of, with any change, there always is. Like a lot of tower moments, as in the tarot. A lot of tower moments are going to happen, but that's okay. You have to sometimes break things down to rebuild it. So anyway, that's I don't have my mug here. But it's truth and consequence. And with every truth, there is a consequence. And for those of you out there that have been against me, I forgive you. It's okay. I don't want to take anything away. I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm just trying to get this word out to people that this is the future that we could have if we all come together and wake up. Okay? Bye now. Ta-da!